And I tell people all the time, everyone, there's someone for everybody. What was my saying? Uh, there's someone for everybody, but everybody is not that someone, or
Right.
something like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Everyone is someone's type.
Yeah.
Everyone is somebody's type. You just have to find your match or what you're looking for. Now, if you're looking for multiple women, well, you got to
Hmm.
understand, go back to fingerprints. A coach does in the locker room, he speaks to all of his players at once.
Hmm.
Least common denominator. He speaks in general terms
Right.
to all his players at once. Ministers do the same thing. Notice how a coach talks to you one on one when you go back into his office or in his room. He doesn't yell
It's
and scream.
different.
He doesn't write on the chalkboard because he knows the way I talk to my place kicker, who's very sensitive, is not the way I talk to my steroid built center.
Right.
I got to talk to him differently because if I talk to him the way I talk to the place kicker, he'll fall asleep or be disinterested.
True.
So I change my style depending on their fingerprint. But when I talk to them as a group, it depends on my fingerprint. That's only the connecting patterns. So I only deal with general with mass groups. You should only speak in general, and every person in the group thinks like you're talking to them individually. These are different people. So they all walk out of church. 5,000 people walk out thinking the preacher was talking to them. That's because he's speaking in general. He's talking about bills. He's talking about relationships with your parents and children. Well, we all have parents. Even the people that don't have children came here by way of parent. So
Yeah.
we all can relate one way or another. But when he brings you into that back room, he wants to know about Billy in general. He wants to know about your mother and in general. Was she this? Was she that? And notice how softer his tone is. It's a lot. He's not talking at you now. He's talking to you to get through you so he can be with you. But in general, that's a different type of talk. And that's the same way when you're dating and things like that. So when you run into those types, you got to understand in American statistics, 1 out of 3 women have been assaulted or
Yeah.
molested or things like that. I assume every woman I talk to or deal with is that way. So, but when I am and go into her space, I imagine my arm extended, her arm extended, and they're touching fingertips. I put the arms down, and I don't get any closer to that until I'm invited closer.
Mm.
She has to invite me in. Her eyes will invite you in. Sometimes she comes closer to you. When she comes close to you and she stops, that's her comfort zone. Anything beyond that, she's going to see as rejection. Anything above that, she's going to see as an intrusion. So you stay right there. Sometimes you can be throwing jokes with your buddies when you're growing up, and then you guys will start talking about each other's mother. Well, that may be a sensitive subject for you. When you do it, you put that hand up and like, okay, we don't go there. So he knows how far to go now. So he'll just talk about your bicycle or the fact that you dropped the pass. Well, that has you laughing. But when he sees you frown, he knows, okay, that's how far we can go. We're not going to go past that line because a human being will tell you, you've gone too far. What they're really saying is, you're getting too close. You're within my comfort zone now. You're past my defenses now. And I'm uncomfortable at this point. So I tell people women will always, they say, when does a woman have sex with you? I said, the moment she's comfortable.
Hmm.
That could take 6 months, that could take a year, that could be never. With me, it's usually the same, it's always the same night. The second she feels safe with you, that's when her defenses are lowered. You have to make her feel safe, but the second it'll click in her. This has probably happened to you, I'm sure, more than once. You ever have a woman at your house
Hmm.
sitting far away from you, and you
Yeah.
guys are in a movie, and you'll say something silly like, "Boy, I wish we had green onions on this pizza," and she leaps over into your lap and starts kissing you.
Right.
It wasn't green onions. It was at a certain point she felt safe in your
Yeah.
presence, and that's when she can open up her gates. Don't try to bang in. Just let her
Well,
know
yeah.
you.
Well, I've had the woman that says they don't want to do a one night stand. They don't want to come to your house. And then you talk to them 30 minutes later, they're at your house and you're having your party with them.
Yeah.
So,
You have to go at the pace of their comfort.
right.
I have one now. I was supposed to see. She was a little nervous because I am in a different country,
Mhm.
and she's seeing me for the first time. And I do have a reputation, unfortunately. So And I said, I perfectly understand that. I told her, we'll Zoom until you feel comfortable. You know, and maybe I have to come to you first.
Yeah.
Because if I come to you first, you have home field advantage. Where do you feel safe? And a woman will tell you where she feels safe by telling you where she wants her first time to meet. Well, can we meet at Starbucks? No problem. Can we meet at the gym? No problem. You're just telling me where your comfort zone is. Can we meet at my parents' house? No problem.
So what about that stigma, Mickey, about approaching women at the gym? Just since you brought that up, you know, I've had a couple of fitness women on here that, you know, have pretty big Instagram followings, and they talk about, and there are some sketchy dudes out there, and one of my good friends who has a good Instagram following and she works out hard. She told me that some dude, she just graduated from University of Central Florida, and she said some dude was videotaping her and trying to follow her home. So, you know, I get that stuff. But is it good or okay for like men to approach women at the gym? Because we go back to that, it's so like pushed into the society, is so pushed into using this online dating shit instead of meeting people in person, that when a guy approaches a girl at the gym, at the grocery store, wherever it may be, then they're kind of screwed.
Well, you're asking, I don't know if you're asking the right person this question, because the gym is kind of my church.
Yeah.
And, you know, I have a martial arts background, I have a boxing background, and I have,
well, you shouldn't be going to the gym to pick up girls. We'll just set this out. You
it's
know,
a place.
yeah, it's a place to work out, but I'm just saying.
And if I say something to a woman, are you using this
Right.
to give me a spot, or could you scoot over, or am I too close? It's gym related questions. I'm not there. I don't notice them, but a lot of guys.
Not a club, yeah.
To pick up women is it that they watching a woman bend over 100 times, and it triggers something in them. They become attracted because she's making movements and sounds that he can relate to sexual activity. So his brain functions go from here to here. That's why people say, well, women distract in the gym. I say, because you're not concentrating on what you're doing. Would I approach a woman at the gym? No. Just like I wouldn't approach a woman at her job.
Right.
She's working. Her mind is here. I would let her, if I did approach a woman at her job or at a gym, the approach would be maybe 10 seconds. Just an introduction. Hey, how you doing? You come here a lot? Yeah, I come here every day. Yeah, I try to do this, that, and the other. I do a split routine. I go right back to what I'm doing. That's it.
But I was told in those situations, like for instance, I agree with you. When I'm going to a gym, I got my podcast on, I'm working out. You know, you might look at a girl, if she looks, you know, good looking, I might look, but then I move on. You know, it's not, I'm going to go over there. It's not the club. She's up against the wall. You're going toward her. I'm not doing that. I'm there to work out, get in, get out, and move on with life. But my thing is, if you do want to do this, and this is why I want to get your opinion on, if you go and work out at a gym all the time and you're a personable guy, you're going to know the person at the front desk. You're going to know the trainers that are there. You might say, what's going on, Johnny, Jim, whoever the frig they are, Sally at the front desk. And women that are in there, they might take notice of that. Say, hey, this guy's always here working out. He doesn't go and mess around. And maybe they'll approach you. That's what I would prefer, a woman at a place like a gym to approach me, because they see that I'm there, I'm working out hard, and I'm not, you know, staring googly eyes at them.
Now you ask yourself, which is easier? Is it easier to sell a person a car that you want them to buy? Or is it easier to sell a person a car that they've already decided to buy? So I've been approached, I don't approach women, usually they approach me and then I take over from there. I let them know how receptive I am to their approach, because their approach may be 5 seconds. Maybe a wink of an eye, maybe a smile and a little wave. That's giving me permission. Now I keep eye contact because she might have wanted to just say hello, not come here. So if her eye thinks, I say, and I walk by and I smile, I keep walking. I've done that before in high school. I walk up to a girl, I can see from her eyes she's not interested or she's too nervous. I keep walking to the water fountain. I keep walking to the water fountain. If she wants me, she'll look at me as I walk past. Her head is turned. She's not interested. If her head is staring at me, then I stop and turn around. I wait until she gives me permission. because it's much better when you have permission as opposed to, okay, all right, I'll go out with you. That's going to be a lousy date, I can tell you this. No matter if I took you to Dubai, it's going to be a lousy date. If you do, God, you've been bugging me for 6 months, okay. I'm like, we're not going to have a good time. I can tell you that now. I can shower you with gifts and you're not going to have a good time. You know what you're going to do with those gifts? You're going to call the guy you're really interested in, and you guys are going to have a lot of fun in the car I just bought you. You really are.
Right.
So no, she knows what she wants. You can't convince, I don't care how much money Will Smith makes. Jada Pinkett's mind is on Tupac. He cannot impress her with $1 billion. He cannot buy her enough stuff. It's here. It has nothing to do with money, or else Jeff Bezos wouldn't be on marriage number 3. I mean, his wife left him for a teacher, and Elon Musk has been married 3 times. So money has never been an issue. I can go down right now and show you at the bus stop a man and a woman kissing and holding hands. It has nothing to do with that. And I can take you to the New York Stock Exchange right now. None of those guys are getting laid. That's why I used to send my girls to them. Shh. But they're not getting any. You think it's your money. No, it's not. It's not your car, or else you wouldn't see couples walking all the time. You wouldn't see them at the park. You wouldn't see them on the bus stop. No, it's not that. It's what's inside of you.
But do you feel like so many years, you know, being with all these women, being on the street, talking to all these different people, different lines of work, has helped you personally? You know this stuff instantly within a second.
Yeah, it's actually shaped me and made me who I am. You picked up, remember the Karate Kid?
Yeah.
At the point where Miyagi said, I have been teaching you karate. He said, no, you haven't. And then he showed me sand the floor. And remember when he went in speed and it just came to him like that? See, Daniel-san was learning lessons that he didn't know he was being taught. And because he didn't know he was being taught, it didn't have to get processed through his conscious mind and went straight to his subconscious. He was able to pull it up and recall it at the speed that Miyagi could throw it. And he had only been with Miyagi 2 weeks, because Miyagi knew that he didn't have enough time for me to teach him consciously. I have to teach him subconsciously. And it's the same, it's transferable. So do I have a problem speaking in front of large crowds? No, I've done that all my life. Do I have a problem talking to strangers? That was my line of work. You know, so you don't know that you're picking these up. You have to make them transferable. So if I did approach a woman, no, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't, but I don't, but like I said, I would never do it at the gym. Just like I would do it at church or at a funeral, or now at a wedding, perfect place. Because all the bridesmaids want to be the bride. And they're up there alone. They usually don't have groomsmen with them. The groomsmen are friends of his. The bridesmaids are friends of hers. So they don't know each other. So here she is in this nice dress, all dressed up, with somewhere to go, but no one to go with. Oh, and here comes Mickey Rowan with his binocular glass. Allow me to introduce myself. You know, while they're watching them dance, look at the way the women are looking. Oh, I'm like, no, your turn is next. It's a different song. Come with me. So it's her day too, because she's jealous of that woman's day. Let me show you how I can make this your day. So that's a great place. But like funerals, church, if she's a checker at Walmart, she's busy. Yeah. She's busy. This is not the time nor the place. So what you can do is just make yourself available. And she'll call you 4 or 5 days or in her off day, or she might not. You make it quick and you go.
We're at the same height. How did you learn that at a young age, that you could still get a girl that's short, tall, it didn't friggin' matter, and all that hearsay from the media and all this pushing through movies and TV that you got to be with the tall, jacked guy and this and that was just a lot of phony baloney?
Okay, I'm sending you an actual picture right now of my ex and myself.
Oh, on the phone.
Let me know when you get it, and you can pull it up.
Is this a text or? Oh yeah, okay. Okay, yeah. So she's way taller than you. Yeah.
6'1" barefoot. Those heels, she's about 6'5". Okay, I'm 5'7" in alligator shoes at best, and we were together almost 20 years. And I had a relationship after that for 1 year. She was 6 feet, and My ex-wife before that is about 5'10", something like that.
Hmm.
I've only really been attracted to taller women. I remember when I was in high school, a chick would say, "I'm too short." I said, "For what?" I didn't say let's go play basketball. I said let's go to my house.
Right.
I'm tall enough for that. I mean, too short for what? But it's never really been an issue with me, and I'm primarily attracted to taller women. The taller, the
Yeah.
better. You know, the tallest woman I've ever dated was Tiffany. She was 6'6", and
Wow.
she only wore heels, so she was about 6'9" on the date, 6'10". And I love the attention I got when I walked in with her. I've
Yeah.
always had been Roger Rabbit next to Jessica Rabbit. That's always Boris and Natasha. They used to call me and my ex because I wear the fedora with the long trench coat,
Right.
and she wears body dresses. And so we just got a kick out of it. So when it was time to go, she would say, "Come, Butters," or either I'd be like, "Run, Natasha." And we liked the attention we got from it.
Right.
She only wore heels, so she was about 6'4", and those heels 6'5", and I'm 5'7". We come in, and people are like, "Ah, you guys look adorable." But no, it was never a problem. You know, it's never been a problem. The problem is, I think guys, the reason they strike out is because of the way they swing the bat and the
Yeah.
fact that they don't pick up the bat with a home run in mind. They pick up the bat to bunt. Well, there's only so two things that can happen when you bunt. You can either get thrown out at first or you can make it to first base. I thought you were trying to get to home plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suggest you put that right leg back and prepare to swing. Now, the problem with swinging for home runs is chances are you're going to strike out because your vision changes, your perception changes when you swing the bat that hard. That's why people like Reggie Jackson, look at his strikeout ratio. It was either going over the fence
Right.
or he was spinning around in the dirt and falling. He always had aimed for the fence. So I never saw the height as an issue, and especially because of the women I talk to. My women are usually very tall,
Yeah.
you know, but not saying that I haven't been with shorter women. I have. I've been with all of them. But my preference, what catches my eye, yes, is the tall woman. She's fascinated with the fact that I was willing to walk up to her. One guy asked
Right.
me, "Why do you always have tens in your life? Why do you always have these beautiful women?" I said, "Oh, because I only talk to beautiful women. See, if I talk to 10 beautiful women a day, I'm bound to get 2.
Right. Well,
So
I think a lot of men are scared though to approach those girls that are 10, which pumps up their ego extremely high.
yeah, and my brother cured me of that. He cured me of that when I was about 16.
Okay.
We went to a gas station, and we were, you know, criminals. We had nice things
Mhm.
and stuff like that, but she pulled up in a very, very expensive Mercedes. And she was a little older than us. She was about in her early 20s. And she had on like a pantsuit. So I could tell she's maybe an educated, sophisticated woman. And she
Yeah.
looked at me and she smiled. And I smiled back, and we were just smiling. And she did a little like, you know, hi, you know, giggle, giggle. I did a little giggle, giggle. She went in there, paid for her gas, and got out and was coming back. On her way back, some really like broke thug type dudes pulled up. He hopped out. He saw her and ran over there, started talking to her. She wrote her number down and gave it to him. And I said, I looked at my brother, I said, "That dude is a bum." He said, "Let me tell you something. Pretty rich girls want flowers on Valentine's Day too. They want to go out too. They want to be kissed and held too. So beautiful women, they want someone to." My woman is a former Playboy bunny.
Yeah.
My ex was a former Playboy. She said when it came to her prom, nobody asked her. And she asked one of the guys, she said, "I wanted to go to the prom with you. How come you didn't ask me?" He said, "Well, we all assumed you had a date."
Hmm.
So the guys were scared to ask her. She said, "No, I sat at home." She said,
Wow.
"I sat at home while the average girls had the time of their lives." She said, "I sat at home by myself. Nobody asked me." She said, "But after the prom, they always wanted to know what I did. You went to some big old college function, huh?" She said, "No, I sat at home because you guys didn't ask me. Well, we figured we were out of your league." And I tell guys, no woman is out of your league. And I tell women, no man is out of your league. He might be out of the league you feel you're in. But no man is out of your league. Rihanna
Yeah.
is, I think, the richest entertainer in America. One of the richest. She's a
Yeah.
billionaire. She has a child by ASAP Rocky whose net worth was $10 million. He's worth 1%. So every dollar, she has a dollar in her pocket, he has a penny. Now, she passed over Leonardo DiCaprio. She passed over Chris Brown. She passed over Drake. They have a lot more money than he does. But she chose ASAP Rocky. He's not the handsomest man in the world. And he's definitely not the richest man that she knows, because she pays more in taxes every month than his net worth is. But she chose to have a child and be with him. It's here. It's always here. It's here and it's here. It's never the outside. So it's never the money, because that's a billionaire dating a guy who has $10 million.
This kind of... Yeah. What'd you say, Mickey? Sorry.
I said she's not just dating him, she's having his child. She could have had all those other gentlemen's child. She passed over all those men to get to the one who makes so much less. Jeff Bezos' wife left him for a teacher who makes $60,000 a year. So it's never the outside. It's always, like I had to tell one of my clients, I said, maybe you're just not as handsome, charismatic, and charming as you think you are. Maybe it's that. I said, because it's definitely not anything else. You have a master's degree. You have this, that, and the other. You can bring her into a home. She'd rather go to the projects and hang out with Tyrone. Why? You think you're the better choice. I said, the fact that you think you're the better choice is the reason why she chose that other guy.
You know, that goes right into I went to school in Boca Raton. If you know South Florida, Boca Raton, real well-off, rich area. So I went to college down there, did my undergrad and my master's there, and I'm getting into this story because a lot of the girls there were rich, white Jewish girls or rich white girls in general. And you knew when these girls got married, they were going to be married to some rich white guy. But then I knew a lot of these girls, and I was friends with playing athletics, you know, knowing a lot of these girls that they would go out with these guys that were, you know, thugs or wannabe thugs and stuff. And it was really interesting, the dynamic of that stuff. Or they'd have a boyfriend that was one of these rich guys, and then they go out with the thug on the side. What do you feel like that is? Is that something, you know, because I know we talked about this before of racism in porn. Are these girls getting this from the pornography and the racism in porn? It's kind of building in their brain and they're trying to reclaim it into real life standards and not the I can't say the damn word. Cinematography of pornography.
You know what women want?
Yeah.
You know what women want? All women?
Yeah,
something they don't have.
Right.
Something they don't have. I put on another show. I said I could easily get Kim Kardashian as much money as she had. And I said, you take her where she's never been. You don't try to get her in her world. I can't take her to Mr. Child. She knows the owner and she can buy the restaurant. That's not going to impress her. I would take her down Crenshaw. She's never hopped in a lowrider before. She's never seen a gang initiation before. She's never been to an after hours in Watts at 2 in the morning before. Everything she would say is, this is fascinating, because you're seeing it for the first time. She's never had East LA street tacos that cost $1.25 at 1 a.m. after the club closed. She's like, this is the best I've never. Yes, everywhere I take you is a new discovery and you've never been. See, they want new discoveries. Why would a woman who has a rich father want a rich man?
Right.
She grew up with one. I remember Ross Perot's daughter saying, I'm glad my father didn't become president. And they said, why? She said this innocently. She said, because I didn't want to have to move into a smaller house.
Right.
She's talking about the White House. She said, I didn't want to move into a smaller house. I'm glad he didn't win. See, you can't impress her with the White House. Her house is 3 times that size. But I bet she's never been to the projects before.
But why are they still marrying? Right. No, I agree with that. But why are they still marrying the rich guy instead of the regular middle class guy or whatever? Is it just to be with what the parents want, or what is it?
Yeah. Same reason that Jada still writes poems for Tupac. He's been dead 25 years, but she married Will Smith. It's because it's a conflict. It's always a conflict within every human being, not just women, men, every human being. They live in 2 worlds. What I want and what I think people would be glad that I have.
Right.
They're living their lives and their parents' lives at the same thing. They're living their parents' expectations. and it's in conflict with what they want. I want to be a circus clown. I've always dreamt of juggling, but my mother's a doctor, my father's a doctor, and I have a free ride to medical school. You know what he's going to do? He's going to be in that operating room dreaming about the circus. And you know what the sad part is? When he retires, he's going to go live his life now, because he's lived everyone else's life up until then. I hear people say it all the time. You know, I was going to do such and such, but then, you know, my wife, you know, she got pregnant, and we started a family, and instead of racing cars and things like that, which is an unfulfilled dream and desire, which never goes away, it builds a hole inside of you. He said, I decided to be a stockbroker. Mitt Romney said he didn't want to go into politics. He always wanted to be a boxer all his life. But he said that role was paid for him. You know what he finally did? If you can look it up on YouTube, Mitt Romney had an exposition fight against Evander Holyfield for 3 rounds.
Right.
And he said, now the hole is filled. He had to wait till he was in his 70s to live his life. For 70 years, he lived someone else's. And that's why they do that.
Yeah.
So that's why they end up marrying that guy. Now, they may want that guy, but ask yourself, when you talk to them and they ask you ask them why, they'll say things like security. Yeah. They'll say things like, we can build a home together. They didn't say anything about desire. You didn't hear the word love in one time. You didn't hear the word passion one time. So they still need those things. If you don't give a person what they need and what they desire, you can't give them anything. You can give them everything in the world, Will Smith. You can't give Jada the one thing she wants. And if you can't give them the one thing she wants, you can't give them anything. Anything. You just find yourself doing more and more and more. That's what's inside of them. They don't marry for that reason. That's why they can divorce them so quickly too. It's not because they married them just to go half and take the money. It's because they never wanted them to begin with. Their parents wanted them to have them, or it looks right to other people. And it goes back to grammar school, middle school, and high school. The popular girl may have a crush on Pee Wee Herman, but she's worried about what her friends would think and how it would look to other people.
Right.
So she passes over Pee Wee Herman, and then she sees him in the mall 20 years later. But it's too late, because the one woman who wasn't worried about what her friends think, they're still married. They're still married to him. And they have a great life together. And the woman is usually the mistakes that people make when it comes to interacting with other people are not from them. It's because they don't want to be looked upon by people they deem valuable, be it society, be it their parents, be it their children. You know, they don't want them to know that they do X, Y, and Z, even though that's what they want to do. So you're not making your mistakes. You're making your parents' mistakes, because this was not your decision. This was your parents' decision. You're paying the penalty. You committed a crime, Rob, and I have to go to prison for it. See, that wasn't my mistake. You committed that crime. Your parents want you to have X, Y, and Z, but you don't. So, but you suffer the consequences of their choice, and that's not fair to you. You should suffer the consequences of your own choices.
Yeah, no, I agree. So is that why you feel like, you know, the hot wife, the swinger game, you know, all this stuff is really built up? You know, maybe you can tell me different. I mean, I'm 32, but, you know, I've watched pornography before, like everyone else has in the world. I mean, I'm not going to not say that I've never done it. That would be a fictional lie. So, you know, you see this all the time now, and I've interviewed people that are swingers and hot wives and stuff like that on this program, and it seems like it's growing and growing and growing now. Is this why this is growing?
Yes. Notice their ages.
Yeah.
Why are they all over 40?
Right.
Because they have to live their parents' life up until 20, and from 20 to 40 they have to live the child's life. Yeah. Now when the child or children are off in college and doing their thing, they send them away. You live in Florida. I think UCLA is a good school for you, Rob. No, we want Rob 3,000 miles away. Why? So we can pick up where we left off. And that's what they're doing. They're picking up from where they left off. They left off at 20. They had to live parents' life, and then they had to live children's life. Well, when is it their turn? Now it's their turn. But do they start as a 40-year-old person? No. They start as that person who was interrupted. They start right back from where they were interrupted. That's why the guy in his 50s has the convertible Corvette with the gold chains. See, that's what he had before he had to quote unquote settle down. Notice it's not called settling up. Settling is a bad word. And settling is never your first choice. You have to settle. Down is never good. So that means you went lower with a choice that's really not your first choice. Well, settling down to me sounds like a horrible thing, no matter in any reference, just from the wording alone. If it was something good, it would have a different term. When you go to Vegas and you get your money from your chips, they call it settling up. See, that's a good thing. I turn these little bitty plastic things into actual tangible legal tender. That's a good thing, so you're settling up. So me getting married, shouldn't that be called settling up?
Yeah.
No, it's not. It's always called settling down, because I have one life and now I'm forced to share it. I have one cookie. That's not enough for me anyway. One life is not enough. We need about 6 of these suckers. But we got one life, and now you want me to break it in half? I got one cookie, and you, Jesus, this ain't even worth eating.
Well, I'll tell you, I have friends that are married, and I know you do also, and it's really sad. Like one of my friends, you know, that's all he does is he say, "Can you want to hang out?" I say, or something, do something. No, I can't. My wife, you know, I gotta hang up off the phone. My wife is home, and I'm like, excuse my language. I'm like, you guys, you know, you're like a little bitch, man. You're letting your wife control your whole freaking life. I mean, it's really messed up, you know. I always thought something like that would be somewhat equal, or you know, you have your own time. You know, you might have equal time together, but I want some time to myself, just as I would want my wife to have some time to herself. I mean, I don't know. It's freaking crazy. I think these guys are really in bad shape. Go ahead.
Those people, marry your best friend.
Yeah.
Marry your best friend. If you meet a woman and this is somebody you want to be your girlfriend, once your girlfriend, she becomes your girlfriend, you guys are monogamous and exclusive, be friendly with her. Start being her friend. Even let her cry on your shoulder about an ex-boyfriend until she gets over it. She obviously got over it enough to be with you. You work it through. You talk to her as if a female friend would talk to her. Because if you want to do the long haul, 30, 40, 50 years married, you know how many stages I've gone through in the past 30 years? You know how many different human beings I've been? She does the same. But each step and phase you want to take together. I remember Ozzie Davis and Ruby D. Ruby D said, we went through our separation stage, we went through our swinging stage, hanging out with Hugh Hefner and stuff. We went through our monogamous stage, we went through our atheist stage, and our highly religious stage. We went through our our family stage, and we went through our let's escape and get away stage. She said that's why we were married 60 something years, because we grew together, and that can be a beautiful thing. You know, the attraction is one thing. But I would never just marry a woman I was just physically attracted to. And not just, the romance could be perfect. We have to be friends. Because I'm going to tell you something. When the other stuff burns out, the friendship, see, a woman that loves me and I love, will I change her diapers? I'll change my friend's diaper. This is my friend. This is my friend. That's the woman that you divorce one day, but you still come by every week and cut the grass. That's your friend. This is not your ex-husband talking. This is your friend. I know you're having auto mechanic trouble. I'll take care of that because you're my friend. Now I'm still dating your sister and I don't want to date you anymore, but you're my friend. I'm going to always be there for my friend. And if you want her to always be there, you guys can be lovers, you guys can be romantic, you guys can be in love, passionate, but when it gets stagnant, like Leave It to Beaver, him sitting in his chair, smoking his pipe, she's reading her thing, they're friends. Just the fact that your friend is in the room, notice when your friends come over, your best friend, you guys don't have to talk.
Right.
You don't have to interact. You can be over here texting, and he can be over there like playing, whatchamacallit. You guys are having a great time. Go way back to like when you were like 8 and 9 years old. You don't ride your friend on your bicycle. He has his own bicycle. He's jumping his ramps. You're doing hip slides. When you come in from outside, you say, me and Billy had a great time together. You and Billy weren't together. The fact that you guys were in each other's company, that's your pal. That's your friend. And you guys, this energy, like, I'm really having a good time over here with you, Billy. So am I. You and Billy ain't spoken an hour and a half. He's riding his bike. You're doing your thing. But then when Billy has to get called in the house, you get sad. How does Billy getting caught in the house affect you riding your bike? That's because his energy is gone. My pal is gone. There's no point out here. I might as well just go in the house too. So I said she has to be your friend. He has to be your friend also. And then there's no need for jealousy. There's no need for tit for tat. There's no need for competition. You don't compete with your friend. I want to ask you about your friend that dated one girl and they got married. Does he have sisters?
Yeah, he's got 2 sisters. You're right.
That could possibly help because, and he has a long term, he's been there a long time. See, people who are used to being around women, guys, they understand this is a phase. Guys who are not, like if he had never had